Hey guys, this is Ross, and today we're going to talk about jujubes. Yes, that is a real name for a fruit. I'm not making it up. They're also called Chinese dates, and these trees are quite incredible. Really a fan of them, as they're quite productive for me in containers. They seem to be quite vigorous trees. They seem to be quite tasty, the fruit. I really like the fruit. It's becoming one of my favorites now. And as you can see, the trees look very healthy. You know, the new growth that's coming out this year is already flowering. You can kind of get close in here. And you'll see in between the leaf nodes and the stem, there's these little bits there. The flowers are forming right now, and we're still very early in the season for that to be occurring. And I find that because they're in containers, they wake up a little bit earlier. These are trees that wake up quite late. They're one of the last trees to wake up, similar to my persimmons, similar to my figs. They're one of the last trees, and I think that has something to do with the fact that a jujube is subtropical as well as the other two, but it's one of those subtropical trees that you can grow here in the cold, here in zone 7. So really getting lots of fruit off these guys. I did make a video on them last year when I got some fruit, but the way the fruit works is that the fruit forms on these new laterals that come out in the season, and these laterals actually sort of drop at the end of the season. So it's weird how that all forms. There's only a certain number of laterals that will be permanent. It's weird how this tree grows, but that's how it works, is that certain branches, I haven't yet figured out exactly the science behind that, but certain branches will be permanent and will not fruit, like this branch here. This will not fruit, but there is new branches coming off of that will fruit. So I think there's also some branches that form male flowers, some branches that form female flowers. It's strange, but they are self-fertile because they do have the male and female flower, except for this variety here, Lang. Lang is supposed to be one of the better varieties that you can grow. It's quite large. But it needs to be pollinated, and I've had quite trouble with getting this one to set well. My Lee, this is the Lee that I've had. That's the oldest tree I have, but I also got my Lang at the same time. It's just quite smaller. And then I've gotten my honey jar last year, which also put out a really good crop. So it's very strange to me that those two have put out a really huge crop, whereas this Lang has not. And I think it may have to do with the size and just that it's a younger tree, or maybe it's because it needs pollination. So what I've done is I've grafted a new variety onto it that's very reliable, according to someone that grows many varieties of jujubes in the area. This is called Jujubes, and you can see the graft is successful here, coming out quite nicely. This one is sugarcane, and this is probably the sweetest jujube. So I'm really excited about that. And to talk about the fruit real quick, the fruit, as I said, forms on those laterals, and from those fruits though that form, they're kind of like almost golf ball size, some of them a little smaller than that, but they're more oval shaped, and when they're crisp, they're crisp like an apple. Actually, you bite into them and they have the same mouth feel as an apple. In fact, you'll see in the video, the thumbnail of this video, that's my harvest. Part of my harvest from last year is that they will be green like an oval, and you can bite into them crisp and they taste like an apple, but not as good as an apple in my mind. I don't think they're as good. But if you let them dry, here's where the word date comes in, because they're also called Chinese dates or Korean dates. They will shrivel up, turn red, from green to red, like a maroon color, and then start to shrivel up, and they'll actually have a date-like consistency that in my mind isn't really like a date. It doesn't taste like a date. It doesn't really look, I guess it looks like a date. The interior of the fruit is more of like it's like bread. Lots of carbohydrates in the fruit. In fact, if you look at the nutrition facts of a jujube versus a date, dates are almost all sugar and fiber, and jujubes are almost all carbohydrates and fiber with very little sugar. I know that sugar is a carbohydrate, but the breakdown of that, I guess, is something else. I don't know what it would be. I'm not a chemist, I'm not a scientist, but there's very little sugar in a jujube, which is quite strange. But you can taste there's definitely a difference in the sugar level. Dates have that raisin-like flavor to them. Jujubes do not. Jujubes also have a quite interesting skin to them. They're nothing like dates. It's so stupid that they call them dates. I think it really all has to do with the color and the fact that they dry and the fact that they're shaped like a date. They're not dates. They're jujubes. So anyway, guys, I'm going to give you guys another update on the jujubes when they ripen, and we could talk about a little bit more about them. Yeah, I'll keep you guys tuned in on this topic. I know it's a pretty popular fruit that's really gaining some traction, and it really is well deserved because it's becoming one of my favorites. So I'll see you guys soon, all right? Take care.